I'm here with the brand new head coach of Powdersville Baseball, Coach Wade Padgett. Coach, congratulations, a long-time Patriot. I know you've put a lot of time in here as an assistant coach. Can you talk about that transition from assistant coach to head coach?
I think probably for me, as an assistant, I always viewed my job to help Coach Smith out with literally whatever he needed. My job was to assist him with again, like I said, whatever he needed me to do. And I feel like I did a pretty good job with anything that he asked me to do. I was going to do it because, as the head coach, your job is to make sure the entire program is functioning to the best that it can be. So as an assistant, I just tried to do, I trusted in him. Whatever he was asking me to do was for the betterment of the program. And kind of that shift as a head coach is your job is to kind of coach the coaches. I was never having to do that in the past. I was more, doing what Coach Smith as the head coach asked me to do. So that's kind of the biggest difference as a head coach. And again, more probably thinking about, we have 3 teams, which is a lot. Especially with our facility. We got great facilities, but 3 teams in one field kind of makes things tough to get quality practice in sometimes. So that's been kind of the challenge. We want to make sure every one of our teams is getting really good work in on the field and quality work and time, and especially with the weather that we've had so far, has not made that easy. But those are kind of the main differences. As an assistant, you're kind of really focused on whatever it is your group is, and I've had C team, I was focused on that group. I've had JV, and I've always had pitchers and catchers, to where I was focused on those groups. But as a head coach, that's been kind of the difference. Is you take a step back and take kind of the 30,000 feet view, whatever they I don't know if that's high enough, but however that saying goes, I can't get the numbers right, but.
So as an English teacher, you're good with numbers, right?
Yeah, very good. Very good. That's my strong suit.
Let me ask you, there's a lot of excitement around the program and around town about this season. Overall thoughts on the team and the year ahead?
I think a lot of from a coaching staff side, I think where a lot of our excitement comes from is we got a very veteran group. We got 7 seniors. We have 6 juniors. They've been around the block. They've played a lot of varsity. They have a lot of varsity experience. They've played a lot of games. And they've really been an easy group to coach in that regard. Just because they trust that whatever we're doing is for the betterment of the team, is going to make us the best team that we can be. And they've really gotten after it and really brought a lot of energy. And I think coming off a year where they didn't quite have the success as a group that they wanted to, I think has really made them hungry. So they've been easy to coach. So as a coaching staff, that's where a lot of our excitement comes from, because everybody's kind of bought into a role. Whether it's just being a pinch runner in a game or being in a relief role, everybody's just kind of taking ownership of whatever it does to help the team be the best that they can be. So that, as a coaching staff, that's where a lot of our excitement has come from. And then I know the guys have been excited. I think just, to have another chance coming back this year, same region that we were in last year. I really kind of feel like that they didn't leave it the way that they wanted it to last year, and they have a chance to do that. And then I know them, like I mentioned, we have 7 seniors and 6 juniors, and they're just really close group, and they love playing together. And I think that's where on the field a lot of their energy comes from as well.
You mentioned the coaching staff. I know you have Coach Hogan returning this year. Certainly the largest coaching staff we've had in Powdersville. A lot of excitement there. Happy with what you built there?
I'm very happy. Don't ask them yet, because not all of them have been paid yet. But it definitely is the biggest coaching staff that we have had. And I mentioned that we have 3 teams in our program, and that we have 1 field. So really what having 5 people on our coaching staff now has really allowed us to make sure that when 1 team is traveling or when 2 teams are traveling, that we can stay back and still have a quality practice, but also feel like we take the staff that we want to road games to help our guys be prepared. Obviously, we brought Coach Hogan back. I've been around Coach Hogan for a long time, coaching with him, and really for me personally, having someone that knows me has really helped me into the transition as head coach. I was very fortunate. Shout out to my mom for helping me get Coach Hall, Coach Terry Hall, coming in this year from Westside and then Erskine before that. So it's really, I think it's a rarity in high school baseball to have a really young coach that not only has played in college but also has high school coaching experience. So I'm super excited about him because my role on varsity for the past 6 years has been pitching. So having someone else that does pitching when I feel like I need to kind of move into and have my hands in some other aspects of what we got going on in practice has really kind of freed me up to know that that's in really good hands. But that's also good in the sense to where Coach Hall's working with C-Team as well as working with pitchers. I've kind of dubbed him like a pitching development coach. So even when our time is a little bit more focused on the older guys, he's still able to focus on the pitching side with some of the younger guys, because we got a lot of young guys that are hungry to learn, and I think we got a coaching staff that's got a lot of knowledge and a lot of time and energy to pour into them. Coach Gamble has been an absolute godsend for me. He has a ton of head coaching experience, and I kind of refer to him whether he likes it or not, because we don't personally go way back, but just on the field, whether he likes it or not, I kind of view him as a mentor, just because having 20 plus years of coaching experience, a lot of that as a head coach too. As a first year coach, he can really help me with a lot of the stuff that I've been through and really kind of keep me sane, which he's done a great job of so far. And then Coach Marty Brooks, I'm super lucky he fell into our lap. He brings just a great amount of knowledge and just a different perspective on life. I think that we really want that to be a part of our program as well, not just baseball. So that's the largest staff, so that was a long answer for that. So
I want to ask you about the team too. You mentioned Coach Hall and his work with the pitchers. Looking at the pitching staff, it's a fairly deep and very talented group. Thoughts on your pitching staff?
I'm super excited about our pitching staff. Kind of when we were talking in the off season and through the fall, was that this kind of feels like the build up of what we've had over the past 6 years when we've been in some situations where we were throwing guys on three days rest in the playoffs, or we've kind of felt like a one-trick pony at times of more just exploring and saying, how do we give teams different looks? And I think that not only the depth, but I think we got a lot of guys that do different things. So that can, I know, be really lethal on a lineup. We start at the top. Camden Troyer obviously is super talented. He's really bulked up. He's kind of grown into a man. He's gained 30 pounds. So we really expect to ride him this year. I fully expect him to be, one of the best pitchers in our region, and really kind of show the player that he has become, because he's tough to beat when he's on the mound. After him, we kind of still got guys that are battling it out through this preseason. Rain has had a lot to do with that. Gibson Boyd's a senior. He's been around the block. I mean, I think he pitched a region clinching game as an 8th grader for us. So just having someone that's a veteran, I think really helps the staff. He does a lot of things, small things, really well. He's good in the run game. His tempo is very good. His teammates feed off that. And he just it kind of has the ability to spin a breaking ball in there, so he can throw 2 pitches for strikes, which a high school lineup wise can kind of put you on your heels. I think that the thing that we probably trust the most out of Gibson is that he's not going to be rattled. He could come out and throw a no-hitter, or he could come out and give up 5 runs in the first inning, and he's still going to be the same pitcher kind of all the way throughout. Right there battling him is Logan, transfer that we had, Logan Siegler. Big kid. He's got a ton of arm talent. When he fills it up with 2 pitches, he's lethal. He gets a lot of run on his fastball, and he's got a really heavy, devastating breaking ball. So when he's in the zone, he can really take it to some lineups. From there, Andrew Dent has done a great job. He's worked really hard in the offseason. He really attacked our throwing program and a lot of the plyo drills that we've done, really cleaned up his arm action. We love what he's done there. Then we got a couple more guys that are kind of our funky guys. Like I said, when we got different looks, Brandon Rollins has done a great job with that. I don't think I've seen him give up a hard hit, but that's not true. He hung a changeup, so I've seen him give up one hard hit ball. But just he's really just a completely different look that we can throw at people. And he really embraced that move in the offseason. Jacob Madden is kind of the same thing from the left side. He really embraced kind of doing something different in the offseason and providing a different look. From there, Hunter Jeter is a guy that's has really stepped up. He kind of came to me in the offseason and said, "Coach, I want to pitch." And so I said, "Hey, man, let's try that out in the offseason." He had a really good fall. He's had a really good start for us in preseason too. He's a guy that he loves to go out there and compete on the mound. And I think he can be a guy that eats up some innings for us. Kyle Peters is another guy. Junior, he threw a ton for us on JV last year and really showed that he can kind of be a leader on the mound, which has been really good to see. And then again, he's just another guy that provides a different look. And when he fills up the zone, he can be tough to handle too. We also got Cody Morris, one of our towers out there. Again, just when we talk about different looks, he's super tall, he's long, he's lean, and that's just a different look that you can provide guys when he's out there on the mound. I think that's pretty much everybody I hit.
When you mentioned the pitchers, the ability to do some different things out there, I'd look at the defense too. You have a lot of versatility there. It's like you mentioned, a lot of seniors and juniors out there, but the versatility sticks out to me. Defense should be a strength with this team?
I would hope so. One of the first things I talked about when I get the job is in one of our first meetings, I talked about the guys about embracing different roles. We made pretty big change right off the bat. We decided we were going to go with somebody a different catcher than we had last year. Dana Redmond caught a lot for us last year, and I met with him early on, and that was probably his meeting probably made me feel the best about this team, his individual meeting, because we met and I was hoping it was going to go well, but you just never know until you talk about those things, because he's a guy that started pretty much every game for us at catcher last year. And I talked about wanting to move him to the outfield because he's a super athletic guy. He can really run. He's one of our fastest guys. But I gave him my whole spiel, and obviously from this you can probably tell I get a little long-winded. And literally at the end he just said, "Whatever helps the team, Coach. I'm ready to get to work and ready to make it happen." And then we moved Brandon Rollins, who's played a lot for us in the infield at a lot of different positions behind the plate. But you mentioned versatility. So the depth that we have isn't necessarily in numbers, but we got a lot of guys that can move around and be plus defenders at different spots, which also plays into our pitching depth as well. That allows us to go with different things with guys on the field, or to bring guys to the mound, and then we can kind of rotate guys around to different positions. And we've really kind of done that throughout the preseason so far with, I don't think we've thrown the same exact lineup out there twice, and we've pretty much, I think every game we've almost emptied the bench just with guys having different roles too. And we got one sophomore that's full-time varsity right now. We talked about 7 seniors, 6 juniors, but probably the young pup is Gavin Troyer. And he does a great job. He got some experience last year, even being a part of these guys as a freshman. But he's done a great job. We kind of charged him with trying to lock down second base and just focusing on that. He kind of bounced around a little bit last year, and I think as a young guy, if you give him a focus, they can really just attack that. But he adds a different dimension too, because he's another lefty bat that we can have in there and kind of mix the lineup up. But he's done a great job at second base. So I think that's something that can definitely be a big strength of ours. But again, that's another shout out to the guys. If they don't buy into that, then that doesn't mean anything. And they've done that since day one and really worked their rear ends off at it.
And last but not least, offensively, you mentioned different lineups, but On paper, it looks like an accomplished bunch, but so far in preseason, they've put up about 7-8 runs a game with maybe one exception. Offensively, how does this team stack up?
I think if we buy into what we do well, our lineup can be really good. I think we can have a lot more depth. That doesn't mean that we're going to get up there and pound out 17 hits a game, or that we're going to hit a bunch of home runs from top to bottom, hit a bunch of doubles. But I think that really means, what I think that means is we can have good at-bats from top to bottom, and that puts pressure on pitchers. And I think that's what we've seen throughout the preseason is we've really made guys work. We know our zones, we know our strengths. I don't think we've taken many bad swings, which is good. Not saying that won't happen, because we will face some tough pitchers throughout this year. We got a lot of tough pitchers in our region. But just when we go up and down the lineup, the other thing that we can do is we got several left-handed hitters that we can place throughout the lineup and really mix and match that way. And I think that kind of is something that can then throw off pitchers as far as getting in a groove as it goes too. I think I've mentioned several guys. I think a couple guys I left out. I talked about Andrew Dent on the mound, but he really helps us out in center field too, and being a guy that's towards the top of the lineup. Camden, I mentioned Camden. He's right there in the middle. Ethan Dent's a guy that I've been really proud of. He plays lockdown defense at first. He really brings a presence over there, and he's probably the ultimate team guy. He's one of our best base runners too. And he's starting to come back from his wrist and really starting to swing the bat well in batting practice too. So we're hoping as the year goes, he ends up being a guy that, again, is somebody that can put pressure on the defense for us right there. And then another guy that we've been super impressed with is senior Riley Hokrine. He's worked really hard in the offseason. He's probably our strongest player, although Red might argue with that just a little bit, but that's fine. I let them bicker about that. That usually just means whoever's the strongest has to carry the platform and set the hack up. So during practices, I don't know if they actually want to be the strongest player, but Riley's been a guy that he's really intriguing. He's worked super hard at the plate, and his strength has played into that. But he's just another guy. He just adds kind of a different dimension for us at the plate. And then all those guys I mentioned before, whether it was on defense or pitching, they just really help us out. Have probably one of the deeper lineups we've had in a while, and a lot of that is just they're a year older. Again, we mentioned we have 7 seniors and 6 juniors. High school athlete, just a lot of them mature physically at different rates. So having a veteran group is something that helps you have a deep lineup.
All right, well, Coach, best of luck to you this year, and perhaps most importantly, happy 30th birthday. You feel older?
I definitely feel older. I think a lot of that probably has to do with the rain and being the head coach and just trying to get the scheduling figured out. But it's been great. We got a great group of guys that have worked super hard in the off season. I might feel older too, because we were getting up at 5:30 every morning we were at the weight room at 5:30 every morning, so getting up before that. So that might play into why I feel a little bit older as the season is gone. But not just our guys that are working hard. Our parents have really embraced me and really kind of welcomed me as a leader of this program with open arms, and really helped us out so far. So I'm very appreciative of them and everybody that has been a part of this transition, and appreciative to you, Mr. Tom, for taking all your time out, even though I probably get on your nerves with some of the text messages sometimes. But to you, very appreciative to you for the time you put into this, and you have a new color guy this year, which is interesting as well. So hopefully, as the year goes, he can get a little bit better. I know he's starting the preseason tournament. He was a little bit green, but I think as the year goes, he will shape up on the broadcast.
I'm going to enjoy having him. A lot of baseball knowledge there. And again, best of luck to you this season. Hope to talk to you as the year goes on.
Absolutely. Thank you.